Okay. Okay. So I was all set to give a talk on well, death, right?
Yes.
And then Susan comes up a little while ago and says, "Oh, it's not death this week.
Sickness.
It's sickness." I said, "Well, thank you for sharing." Or maybe I should have known, but I was like, "Well, what? Well, okay. So now, okay, let me." Then I said to her, what I haven't heard people talk. I haven't ever heard a Dharma teacher a talk. I haven't heard a Dharma talk, a long one or a short one, where somebody really emphasizes the importance of uh, health span. What we all want health span. When we talk about sick, we're all going to get sick. We all know we're all going to get sick. We all know that's one of the existential unavoidables. Yeah, sooner or later, we all will experience that. We all will experience that. None of us want to get sick. And most of us, if we think about old age, if we think about, we would like to have more of a health span, right? Yeah, haven't we all known as people who have very long and protracted last,
Yes.
last few years? Of course, none of us want that. And um, even within the Dharma, though, there's not a lot of emphasis on how much are we actually taking care, doing what we can to take care of our bodies with both in the areas of, well, it could be supplements as well, but diet and exercise. Diet and exercise. Now, the reason we want to mention it as well is because this is something that we pay a lot of attention to, and we don't see it as separate from the spiritual path either. We see it as very much part of it. It's this one body. It's this one body. Mindfulness, as Susan will remind us, is the first foundation of mindfulness. Well, how about care for the body? Not just paying attention to it, being mindful of it, but how about caring for it? Yeah. And I still can't convince them to get a stationary bicycle out at the forest refuge. For example, what meditation center has a decent workout room? And even if it did, how many people would be in it, would use it? Yeah. Apparently, it's still true. Now, see, we understand. Now, our parents died young. I made a commitment to pay attention more to diet and exercise when my dad died. When I was 19 years old, I realized that none of the data was in back then. None of the data was in back then. In fact, doctors recommended smoking Camel cigarettes in the 50s, if you can believe it. And we ate all kinds of things. Sure, I grew up with what I ate. Boy, was that, I see, wow. We didn't know. But the data, so much of the data is in now. But what it's so clear to us that uh, we haven't caught up with the data, or our addiction, our various addictions, or our various carelessnesses, or simply not paying full attention to the body, to the body and its health, to do what we can do, even though there's way a lot that's not under our control, right? And are we taking at least baby steps in that direction? Baby steps in that direction. And for most of us, food is so many things in this culture. Food is love. Food is managing anxiety. Food is so many things other than hunger. Very few of us ever know real hunger. Let's be honest, we're so blessed that way. I still remember the time I did a 2 week fast once when I was 19 years old, only water for 2 weeks. And I don't have a lot of extra here, right? 2 weeks. I was hungry after 8 hours, and then I was never hungry again once for 2 weeks. Real hunger is not something we know. We know enzymes kicking off in the belly. Yeah, and think that, oh, I got to eat now. I got low blood sugar. I got this, I got that. We don't really know hunger, but we have a lot of food trips. we have a lot of food addictions, and all of us do, right? And apparently, less fewer than I think 10% of the culture exercises still on a regular basis, fewer than 10%. And just to say, this is very much a part of our spiritual practice to exercise and to exercise with now it takes a while, baby steps, but we are totally committed to it. Totally committed to it. That means even if we go someplace for a vacation for a week, we find the gym. Even when we have been to Hawaii, within the second day we were there, we found the gym. It's just a commitment to the body. It's a commitment to the body. We see the body, and this might feel a little extreme to some of you. We see the body too as in a sacred, as a temple that we wanted to care for it. It feels just like a responsible thing to just care for it. And exercise is very much, the data's in on exercise. It is. It's in. And a lot of us have trouble with discipline. I understand. A lot of us make those vows. You know why exercise clubs stay in business? We see this every year at our health club. On the beginning of January, the New Year's resolution, all the new people join. Within 6 weeks, they stop, but they're still paying for the rest of the year. That's why clubs can stay in business. There are so many people paying who aren't coming, so it keeps the rates lower because we can't stick with it. We understand. I understand. But we still want to encourage that. We want to encourage all of you to take whatever baby steps you can take with exercise and with diet. It's not about going crazy, right? It's not about, I'm going to do something very dramatic. The very dramatic moves tend to not work. It's more like, what is the next thing that I know isn't good for me that I'm still putting into my body? One of the old expressions, there are a lot of old expressions that I don't find that relevant anymore, by the way. But one of them is, we are what we eat. And the older we get, the more junk we put in our bodies, the more we're going to end up, we're running the risk of paying for it. We're more resilient when we're younger. We can put a lot of rough stuff in our bodies when we're younger and seemingly get away with it. I'll tell you a quick story about why I stopped significantly eating sugar, which is toxic. And we all know that. The data's really coming out on sugar. How many of us have that well managed? I get it. We're all addicted to it. The marketers are brilliant in getting us addicted to it when we're kids, right? I was on I did the first one of the first courses, MBSR. I knew John Kabat-Zinn in 1981. I was the manager of IMS, and he said, "All you staff come down and I'll give you a free MBSR training." And one day we were down at the Worcester Medical Center, and the Dalai Lama's personal physician was doing rounds, and he said, "Let's go follow him around," because there were a bunch of doctors following the Tibetan doctor around to all these rooms and patients, and the Western doctors knew their diagnosis, and they wanted to see what the Tibetan doctor's diagnosis would be. This is so cool. And I remember, so when we were all gathered around, big crowd of us. And so we got to this one guy, and he went in, we saw him. He even let us go into the room a little bit. And he would check his eyes, Yeah. He would check his skin, the kind of the tension in his skin.
Sure.
He checked all of his pulses. He had a urine sample and he would shake the urine and look and do all the things that the Tibetan doctor would do. And he came out and he said, well, and and he said, well, it seems pretty clear that this person is close to dying from renal kidney failure, And the doctors all agreed. And they said, okay, yep, well, you got that one right. He said, no, but there's one more thing. He said, because we're interested in the root causes, not just the diagnosis now. And he said, this is, and I'll never forget this because I was standing up against the wall in the Worcester Medical Center. And you know, some moments where sometimes you hear something cognitively, but then there are other moments when it like you get it like at a deeper level. And he said, this is what it is. This is all of the sugar that this man ate when he was young, when his body was very forgiving and he didn't seem to show any side effects. That's now what's killing him. The chickens are coming home to roost from all of the sugar he ate as a young man. That was the end of sugar for me. Oh, that's so extreme. It's not extreme. It's just self-care. It doesn't mean I don't eat fruit. It doesn't mean I don't find other ways to, I still have that little sweet tooth, but straight up sugar, no more, just no more. It's just a baby step in taking care. What's your baby step? See, for mostly in this space, it's the step that you know. It's not a mystery that you know, oh, this is what it would be. This would be the thing I would begin to let go of. Not wholesale, I'm going to stop all flour, all this, all that, all these dramatic diets. No, but this little thing. And how could I begin to exercise just a little bit more? Just a little bit. It's the only body we have. And we all are going to get sick. And we all want to have as much health span before we get real sick as possible. So let's take a baby step in that direction, all of us. Yeah? Yeah. That's what we do. We have one teacher who told us recently, my age, that she has to retire because she doesn't have the stamina to teach anymore. She wants to teach, but she doesn't have the stamina. And she doesn't exercise either. But when we got outside, of course, I was empathic with all that. And I said to Susan, we're going to have to stop someday, but may it not be because we don't have stamina. That's why we go to the gym. That's why we do whatever we can to keep this all rolling. And we want you to all keep it rolling too. That's where this is coming from. Okay. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for your attention. And let's open it up together. Get ready to sit together. When you're ready, slowing it down and lightly closing the eyes. And of course, the breath is still moving in us, through us, noticing that, appreciating that for sure. And moving in the direction of comfortable breathing. Caring attention. Softening, softening and allowing, mm, kindly making room for whatever is moving through the landscape. And the last few minutes of the meditation, settling back a bit more. Receptive attention, receiving. As if the breath were breathing you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Permission to unmute.